Welcome along to Obviously Fight Talk episode 97. We are back in studio after 2 weeks of the home edition.
This is number one bullshit. I think.
Well, we are back. As Khabib said, it was number one bullshit. We're back in studio, so the show resumes as normal. Shout out to our sponsors before we get going. Fight Star Ireland, the Fighter's Choice, everything you need under the two roofs. Go check them out and tell them the lads from Obviously Fight Talk sent you. It's MMAmix.com. They're obviously good because they're with Obviously Fight Talk. And to feelsupreme.co.uk. Go and check them out for all your recovery needs, your CBD oil. And in the checkout, put in the code Fight Talk. You'll get 10% off. And before Robert makes me remember again, go and check out obviouslyfighttalk.com. It's our website is up and running, and all the episodes of past are on it. Well, not all, but
not all.
Yeah, good bit. Go back and check old stuff and old interviews we've done, backstage stuff, interviews, all that sort of stuff, and read a little bit about us. We'll be adding more to the site as we go. But Rob, Happy New Year and welcome back to the studio.
Hey, we're back. I sound so excited. No, yeah. How was the everything? New Year.
Grand, whatever.
Yeah. Same old.
Let's push on, Rob.
Yeah.
I'm not interested. Later on, we'll be talking
No small talk.
UFC Fight Night 124, Stevens versus Choi, and this will be joined by, we're not saying he's the best, folks. We're just saying there's nobody better. Mr. B to the D to the Orman, Brendan Dorman will be joining us. We'll also be speaking with UFC fighter.
UFC? Put a question mark
Stevie
after.
Ray, obviously
We'll see
going
what
through
happens.
a lot of contract negotiations and problems. We'll be speaking with Stevie later on in regards to, is there any new fresh news? He obviously appeared on the MMA Hour just before Christmas. I want to see, is there any update or is there any movement on a contract? UFC London is getting closer. He had sort of set that as a landmark too. If nothing's happened, he was even saying he might even call it a day. We'll be talking to Stevie later. But let's get back to where we always used to start and where we now start. Obviously, I can't speak now. Obviously, Fight Talk Quick-Fire News. 2 minutes on the clock. This is where we read the headline and we've got 2 minutes to discuss. When the buzzer goes, the buzzer's gone.
Excellent.
Saturday evening via Twitter, Marlon Moraes, a picture of his... put up on Twitter a picture of a UFC bout agreement indicating that he had signed to fight Jimmy Rivera at UFC on Fox 28 on February 24th. His tweet was accompanied by a message to Rivera. Here you go, Jimmy. I signed my bout agreement for UFC on Fox. I also agreed to fight you on March 3rd. Choose what day you want me to beat your ass, bitch. Big talk. And as well, Marlon Moraes was just on the MMA Hour earlier today where he said he was weighing in at 165 when he found out that Jimmy Rivera could have fought, that he could have got that fight. There's no way he would have made weight. But what do we think of that? Big talk. They also had a lot of back and forth, Rob, on Twitter, too, as all the fighters seem to do now.
Yeah. I think it's a good fight. Obviously, Jimmy Rivera is due to be on the MMA Hour. He would have happened now, so we're not sure exactly what happened there. But I hope the fight gets made. It's a great fight. It'd be a very interesting one.
Number 1 and 2 in the division potentially.
Yeah, probably. I think Rivera is slightly higher. He's on that crazy win streak. I know. Marlon Moraes said, talking about the win streak, he was like, "Yeah, but how many decisions was there?" So I suppose he has that there. But I like the fight a lot. Two great guys. Marlon Moraes, I think after that last one, a lot of people are talking about him. Yeah. Jimmy Rivera, I still feel he's still flying under the radar a little bit. But, you know, if he gets another win, he is up there for a title shot. So
it's amazing the way it goes, though, isn't it? Like, Jimmy Rivera looked like he was going to be ending the year with a fight against the former champion, Dominic Cruz. Then the fight falls through. He's scheduled to fight again and the fight goes through and falls through again, and it's like a head scratch moment for him, and it looked like Marlon Moraes was going to be the fight that was going to happen. Doesn't happen. If he signed the contract and it's done, I've no doubt that Jimmy Rivera is going to sign the other end of his end of it. So yeah, that's a fight that to look forward to in the division, and hopefully TJ stays in the division for a moment and defends his boxing belt. But, you know what I mean? I'm just sick of it, Rob. I'm sick of him. I've won a belt. I'm going off to fight somebody else. No, stay and defend your belt, and let's have a bit of order in the divisions. Yeah. Let's restore order. Let's make MMA great again.
Let's build a wall and make them pay for it.
I was waiting for the bell to go. I just was off it. Let's make MMA great again. Let's make MMA great again.
There we go.
Fantastic.
Gunnar Nelson was also on the MMA Hour today, just a few minutes ago, as we're recording this episode, and was asked who he'd like to fight next, and his answer was quick. It was Darren Till. He wants Darren Till next. Ding, ding, ding.
Again, this was another Twitter back and forth. Well, it wasn't really. It was almost like a gentleman's agreement.
I don't think Gunnar Nelson, he said that he doesn't use Twitter.
Yeah.
So,
well, no, he said
it was a Twitter back and forth. It was him and his manager.
He said that was, he did say that was him as well. But, like, Gunny, Darren Till was basically said nobody wants to fight me and stuff, and Gunny went, hey, I'll fight you. Gunny's not the type of guy that does call-outs, like, so he was like, yeah, I'll fight you, and Till was like, all right, let's do it, and he's like, okay, and they were originally saying for Liverpool and stuff, and Gunny was saying while on MMA Hour that he was like, well, I just thought it was done, I thought that's how they make fights now, so I presumed I was fighting him. That hasn't happened, but it's certainly a fight that it's an interesting fight.
It's an interesting
He'd
fight.
asked, like, Ariel asked how he rates Till, and he was saying his striking's fantastic, his leg kicks, he's a big guy, he uses his range very well. So Gunny wasn't saying, I'll murk him, and that's not Gunny's style.
Gunny, he's not going to say that.
But as well, Gunny was talking about the Ponzinibbio fight, where he was saying he felt, Ponzinibbio was obviously acting very dirty in their fight. But yeah, look, I'd happily sign up to see Gunny and Till. But again, this whole coming off a loss, coming off a win, will the UFC make it? Does the fight make sense?
It maybe doesn't make...
Is it another good stepping stone, if you take it this way?
Yeah.
Is it a good stepping stone for Darren Till if he was to beat Gunny again?
Yeah, absolutely. It's a great fight for Darren Till to show his skills, I think. If you can beat Gunnar Nelson, it's not an easy...
poetic, Rob.
It's not an easy task. It makes sense in a certain way, as in he fought Donald Cerrone last. Suppose you could call Donald Cerrone a high level striker. You can call Gunnar Nelson a high level grappler. So it would be kind of
knockouts to his...
Yeah, it'd be kind of ticking off a few boxes in his career and his ascension, I suppose. But in terms of making sense in the division, it probably doesn't make the most amount of sense. Like Ponzinibbio, who beat Gunnar Nelson, now it was a bit controversial with the eye poke. A bit controversial with the eye poke. It probably makes more sense. He's coming off another win as well against Mike Perry. Mike Perry's out there, so who knows if that fight's going to happen. But it doesn't make a huge amount of sense that way. But yeah, it is a good fight.
Michael Johnson isn't happy, Rob.
Is
he
his
not? Place on the UFC fight card 124 this weekend. He tweeted, "What a joke! I don't know."
Because that's how he's out.
Yeah. What a joke! I don't even know how the other half of this main event is. And a senior citizen as the co-main event? Question mark? Yeah, okay, yeah. Makes perfect sense. Coming off fight of the year. Nice main card in my hometown. The real main event.
It's not like a Father Ted skit or something. Like a Father Ted
Is he the real main event? It's in his hometown. He's coming off 2 losses.
He's coming off 2 losses. I can see where he's...
Two heavy losses.
Yeah, I can see where he's coming from in ways. Like, I'm more interested in that fight than I am of the co-main event. For me personally, I like the co-main event, but I am more interested.
But look at the placement of it.
But Vitor, it's the main event of the prelim card. Like it's,
Fox Sports 1 that Brendan Dorman speaks so highly of.
It's a fight night anyway, but I get where he's coming from. Like Paige Van Zandt higher on the card, but to be honest, I don't know if that necessarily means anything in terms of the money they make. I'm almost positive it doesn't, unless it's a pay-per-view card and you get pay-per-view points. It's not. So yeah, I can understand where he's coming from in certain ways, but he's coming off 2 losses. You know, he's in the main event of the prelims. I think it's fine, but I can understand what he's talking about.
I don't know. Like, does it? If the money's the same and all that's the same, does it really matter what position you're in?
I don't think so. Unless it's the main event.
Yeah, like I don't think. I think if Michael Johnson had won,
if he won his last
if he's
fight,
coming off wins, you'd be going, hold on. But he's coming off losses here, so I really don't think he can do all that much giving out. I have to be perfectly honest. Like, I think this is a tough fight for him. He's got his hands full without worrying about where I am on the card. Yeah. If he was to go 3-0, it's never a good sign. I don't think the UFC will cut Michael Johnson. He always seems to be in good fights, especially coming off the Gaethje fight, an outstanding fight. But yeah, I don't think he has a legitimate complaint that he's maybe off the main card. If it was a 5-fight main card, he'd be on it.
Paige Van Zandt as well against
but you got Paige Van Zandt as well Clark. Is coming off dancing with the stars or whatever they call it.
It's kind of not the argument, but it was kind of the debate that we had last week. I can't remember exactly who we were talking about, but it was a couple of weeks ago, the Aaron Chalmers thing of I understand why people would be upset. Callum. I understand why people would be upset, but it's just the world we live in. If they think that these are going to sell more tickets for being there, then I know it's there. KSW announced today that Mamad Khalidov, who last year turned down a UFC offer, will return to the cage at KSW 42 on March 4th. For the first time since his main event win at KSW 39 Coliseum, he will face KSW light heavyweight champion Thomas Narkun, and I believe it's a catchweight, so it's not for the title, but he's going up in weight to fight a huge guy.
KSW, mixed martial arts, where flow meets fury, where fighters are boss. I tell you, man, KSW is fucking class. I am a huge fan of KSW. They're doing it right. They're doing it old school. It's like watching a Polish Pride. It is magnificent. And they love doing these big fights. What a fight that is. When you look at Khalidov has torn down the UFC. What fighters are doing that? That'll tell you how good KSW are paying their fighters and looking after their fighters. And this is a big fight. Champion versus champion. Yeah. What a fight.
Yeah, I was talking to Alan Murphy, who does a lot of the I'm not sure, it's just like the PR and stuff for them. And I was just asking them just in the flesh, because I've seen both guys fight, and both guys are excellent. Like, I think Mamad Khalidov was one of our like top outside top fighters outside the UFC. Narkun wasn't, but I've seen him fight loads of times, and he's very, very good. But I noticed, like, I was like, he's gone up in weight class. Mamad Khalidov, he's not the hugest middleweight in the world. It's the size difference going to be huge, and apparently Narkun is absolutely enormous. He said that he looks like a heavyweight pretty much. So it's a big test for Mamad Khalidov. Fair play to him for taking it. In his last fight, he fought the welterweight champion in a super fight. Now he's fighting the light heavyweight champion. What's next?
You decide.
He's going to join the open weight tournament in Bellator.
KSW, man, I swear to God, if you're not on this, get on it, because you know what it is? It is like MMA. It's like an opera theatre of MMA. Yeah, it is phenomenal. Like, I watched the last one at home on pay-per-view. Yeah, I did. And
did you rob it?
No.
What?
No.
Privilege.
I got access for €10. But no, it's absolutely KSW, man. It's a show. And you know what? I have to say, like, I didn't know a lot of the fighters by name or know a lot about them, but I absolutely loved the show. I was like, holy shit, this is amazing. And I got to let the cat out of the bag. I kept stealing... when I was tweeting about it, I kept going, fuck, how do you spell it? And I just kept going on to KSW, copy, paste, and delete everything, and then just keep the names there. But KSW, man, get on that train. It's phenomenal. The Telegraph recently announced UK MMA standout Saul Rogers has signed with Bellator MMA in a deal which the fighter himself called life-changing. In a recent interview with MMA Fighting's PT Carroll, you've doubled that up, Rob. What happened there? Have you robbed PT of the story?
You just read it wrong.
Daily Car recently announced standout Saul Rogers on the UFC in a deal with the UFC for life-changing. In a recent interview, alright. There should not be a full stop there. No, had signed with Bellator in a deal which the fighter himself called life-changing.
In a recent interview.
Yeah, it should be.
It's a bit messy, but you still
Rob
read
fucked
it
me. I am Ron Burgundy. If it doesn't have full stops, commas, question marks, all that malark, I will read it as it is. That was one sentence, Rob. I'm eating into the 2 minutes about you are giving me this. But look, Saul Rogers is a huge talent out of the UK. SPG in Manchester, England. Manchester, yeah. Saul, former guest of the show. Yep. Yeah, huge signing, because I know he was frustrated as well with the issues with UFC when was it the Ultimate Fighter?
The Ultimate Fighter, so he had visa issues. He won all the fights leading up to the Ultimate Fighter finale. He was supposed to fight Artem Lobov. Unfortunately, he had visa issues, and apparently there was a bit of miscommunication with him and the UFC. The UFC got pissed off because he never stated the issues, and they are kind of missing the main event. They replaced him in that fight. And then he just never got signed by the UFC again. He fought for... Who did he fight for? He fought for...
Bama, did he?
Bama. He fought for... the referees boycotted the promotion. ACB. He fought for ACB. And he's done pretty well. But I'm glad that he's signed now with Bellator, because he's a really good fighter coming out of the UK. One of the better fighters, definitely. And I'm looking forward to seeing what he can do in Bellator. I think Bellator will promote him as well, because Bellator seem to be really pushing the UK guys as well. Remember the whole UK takeover thing. So yeah, it's a good one. I like it.
And he comes out with a hangman's rope around him, because he's the hangman.
The hangman, yeah.
But a great record as well, 12-2. Lost his last fight though, so it's you you'd think to get signed by Bellator, but obviously, gee, if I had to guess, I'd imagine Bellator might be going to Manchester or London or something.
Do you think so?
If I just was guessing, but that's not taken away, man. Saul Rogers is a legit fighter.
Yeah.
So look forward to seeing him in Bellator. And the last article on the, you read it in case you bloody say anything or spell anything or don't put it in apostrophe there.
Coach John Kavanagh, the head coach of the notorious Conor McGregor, was interviewed by BBC Sport this week, and when questioned whether MMA or boxing is next for the UFC light heavyweight champion, his answer was clear, quote, "I'll be pushing hard for MMA. The boxing was a nice detour from what we've done, but mixed martial arts is my passion, so if I have anything to do with it, he'll be in the octagon this year." Oh. There we go.
He will be. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. The fact that he is active on social media, as Conor always is, but he's posting pictures back in SPG Comcard, back in SPG Dublin 24 with Paddy Houlihan.
Slight thing. Did you see that he put up the tweet with Richie Smullen and said that watch Richie Smullen on the next season?
Yeah. Did he spoiler alert Richie?
I don't know if that was a spoiler alert or not.
Well, we all knew, everybody knew Richie was going.
He was trying out anyway. But
so hopefully Richie got into Tough. That'd be brilliant for Irish MMA as well. But yeah, everybody knows. Everybody wants Conor back in the octagon. You know, I'm delighted. Like, I'd never delighted Conor made huge money. He made off Mayweather.
Yeah, well done.
You know,
amazing
to go from what Conor McGregor has come from, a guy from the streets of Dublin, Air Streets, Rob, to fighting on the biggest stage in the world and to make that money, unbelievable.
Fair play.
What a fucking man. But get back in and do what you do. And let's get that belt and shut the people up that are doubting him and saying, "Oh, he's never defended a belt." Get in there, knock the head off Tony Ferguson.
I just want to see him fight in MMA.
And then shut Dorman up and choke out Khabib, knock him head off. Be a baseball choke with no gi on.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah. I hope if Irish listeners are listening to that wasn't vulgar. Just fight MMA. I just want to see him fight MMA. Like, come on, just fight MMA. Yeah. Fight in the sport that you train for. It was obvious
when he fought Mayweather. If anyone thinks he was coming back quicker than he has,
of course
he's foolish. He just made absolute bank.
Yeah.
His partner has just had a baby. He's enjoying life. He's a young man. He's enjoying life. He's jumping barriers. He's, you know what I mean?
That sounded like a good thing. Like, you know, he's leaping past barriers like it's a...
He's going for the point down the local. You know what I mean? He's, you know... Now, in fairness, Conor McGregor made an absolute fortune. He changed. He done something that nobody thought was ever going to be possible with the crossover fight. Of course, he was going to take time away to enjoy time with his family. Conor McGregor, we absolutely salute you. We are obviously huge fans, but we want to see it back in the octagon. And hopefully what Coach Kavanagh is saying
You made a good point, though. You did make a good point about social media. He never posts anything without meaning something.
Oh, it was mean something.
He's grappling.
He's back. In your life.
Potentially.
He is back.
Let's move on.
Give me a call now. Hello, Conor. But no, you got to agree with Coach Kavanagh, Rob. You know what I'm setting up. If you don't, you're silly. But
I'll fill some airtime. So make sure you go to obviously fighttalk.com. If you're still listening to this, go to iTunes and give us a review in there as well.
Because if he doesn't go back to boxing, Rob,
this is number one bullshit. I think.
Yeah, we want you back, Conor, and Khabib wants you back. We all want you back. But do you know who we want back?
Who?
We want to see Stevie Ray back in the UFC.
Okay.
So
great transition.
Let's have a chat with him and see, is there any updates on what's happening there? He's talked previously on MMA Hour about Sean Shelby saying if London's coming up. So let's hope there's a little bit of an update and Stevie Ray has it for us. But yeah, let's get him on. Stevie Ray. So welcome back to obviously Fight Talk, and if you're watching on YouTube you can see, and if you're listening on audio you're about to find out, we are joined by, can I say UFC fighter Stevie Ray, or has there been any change in that? We're joined by Stephen Ray. Just in regards to Stephen, is there any update with contract negotiations with the UFC?
I'm waiting to hear back from Sean Shelby. There's not really any update, just that Sean basically said to me that London makes the most sense to re-sign me. And the last time we spoke was he said that he wasn't matching the card yet. So I know that obviously the card's been getting matched now.
Yeah.
So yeah, I've emailed him. I'm just waiting on a response.
The last time we kind of heard from you was in your interview on the MMA Hour with Ariel, and you said that there was no contract offered, there was no real discussion of it. Has there been anything offered, or is it literally nothing yet until a fight is found for you?
Yeah, pretty much just the same, man. I've been told that you get your contract when you get a fight, so because I'm hoping that they're waiting to get me matched up for London, and then they'll offer the contract and the fight at the same time.
Has that always been the way it is, Stephen? It seems a bit weird to we're what, about 7 weeks, 8 weeks out from London, is it? And still no contact. Has it always been that way, or have you signed previously? When you signed first with the UFC in 2015, when you were coming to the end of that contract, we all know you sort of, in a way, you rolled the dice with fighting out your contract. It didn't go according to plan against Paul Felder, but is that been the way it has been? You almost run the contract down and you don't get offered the renewal until your next fight?
No, usually you renegotiate with the UFC when you've got one fight left. So obviously I got the contract offer because my manager, or my old manager, initially told me they weren't going to be offering a contract, and you just fight out your contract now. And then he changed that and said, oh, the UFC have offered something now before the Felder fight. So I don't know why he said that to me in the first place, but yeah, I just thought he basically, obviously him being my manager, he advised me to fight out my contract, and I agreed. I just said, yeah, well, because he said if I fight out my contract, then I'll get the money that we asked for, because he obviously spoke to me. He says, you know, I think that you should be on this this money. Yeah. He asked Sean, and Sean said, well, there's guys in the top 15 that are still maybe not even on that. So Sean said to my old manager, he's like, go beat Felder, and then we can talk about that. So I just thought, right, I go and win this fight and I get the contract that my old manager was asking for. If I don't win, then I get a contract that that one.
Yeah.
If I ever knew that I would be on the sidelines for this long and potentially not really knowing if I'm definitely still with the UFC or whatever, then there's no way I would ever have risked that. I would have signed it there and then.
And is that again? It seems like an obvious question to ask. Was that the reason why we're addressing your manager as your old manager? Was it a dispute over that? That was the straw that broke the camel's back?
Yeah, well, to be honest, I signed with a management company in March, and just from the start there was a few things that, you know, we got on. We probably started off bad, and it just never really got good because it got off to a bad start. So there was a bit of bother where he wanted to be in my corner for the Lozon fight.
Yeah.
But so I mentioned it to my coach, James Dillon, and he says, well, why does he want to be in the corner? One, I didn't know this guy, and two, you know, we had already planned to have my teammates in the corner, because they would be part of the, you know, like one of them helped me warm up, the other one was Danny Henry, just there for obviously for helping out. He was injured at the time, so he couldn't really warm me up, and then obviously James and stuff as well. So yeah, there was a bit of bother between that, and then a few other things as well. So yeah, it just started off bad and got worse. So after this, I thought, you know, it's probably better we just go our own ways. We got off to a bad start. I didn't think that there was ever a good relationship because of that, and obviously, you know, I know it's up to me in the end, but he advised me to fight out a contract, and he should really know, him being a manager and stuff, he should know that this could have been the potential outcome.
It sounds really strange for a manager to want to be in your corner. Did you ever find out the reason behind that at all?
Well, yeah, he told me at the time, you know, I just recently signed with him and didn't quite know, you know, he knew how I was as a fighter and stuff, but he said he would like to have seen how I coped mentally, like how I warmed up, how I was coping with the fight mentally and stuff, so that in the future, if he seen anything that we would need to fix, then we would look into that.
Yeah, seems strange.
So, yeah, that's what he said, but
seems strange. It looks like he just wanted to be seen to be in a fighter's corner, if you know what I mean. That's what it seemed. That's what it sounds like, you know.
Fanboy maybe, I don't know.
It seemed a bit like that. But again, just with moving forward with the contract, like when you look at your last 3 opponents, you've Paul Felder, Joe Lozon, Ross Pearson. You've won 2 of them fights, lost to Felder. That's not a CV of a guy that the UFC should be left hanging around. So, as you said, you're on the sidelines for so long. How frustrating is it? I know you'd spoke with Ariel on MMA Hour, and he said if London doesn't happen, you're potentially thinking retirement. I'm not even saying you're 27. Surely you're coming into the prime of your fighting career. Was that just something maybe you said at the time, or is that a real thought in your mind?
I don't know. I really don't know. Like, obviously, I don't know what other money you can make, and I know there's Bellator and ACB, but I've not really had any. I've told all of them basically I'm waiting to hear back from the UFC. Once the UFC tell me, like, you're not getting a contract, then that's when obviously I can deal with my life a bit. Like, I'm in limbo, so I think being in limbo is even worse than being told, right, you're not getting a contract. Because then at least I know I could move on with my life. Like, right, I'm not in the UFC anymore. These are my options. I can go and coach full time, or, you know, go and fight elsewhere. But the no knowing's probably more frustrating. Because I didn't want to go and sign with another company and then the UFC say, "Oh, we've got a fight for you."
When you think about it, what's your chances of signing back with the UFC? What do you think it is? Do you think it's very likely, or at this point, since there hasn't been a contract offered, are you not really sure?
Well, I don't know. Some days I'm like, oh, I think I'm going to be on the London card. It doesn't make sense to not have me on it. But I know they can obviously, you know, they can still. It's not like they can't do it without me. They can do it without me, but. I don't know. I've been in talks with a couple of other, like, there's been another couple of managers that's interested in signing me. Obviously, with what happened the last time, I'm a bit hesitant when it comes to managers. But like, I've had one guy that says he spoke to Sean and stuff because he was interested in signing me. So I've just said, look, I need to deal with some of the stuff I've got now, and then, I am interested. But so he said, right, well, a few of my guys were wanting to call you out, but out of respect, I asked them not to, because, like, obviously I'm possibly going to sign with him. But he went and spoke to Sean and says, look, what about his guy versus me? And Sean supposedly replied to him saying, no, I want Stevie on the London card. Because this guy was an American. Sean wanted him to fight in America, so I'm hoping that, that is the case, and he wants me on the London card. And
what do you think is the fight that would interest you though as well, Steve? Because we know the likes of, I know you've had history with the likes of Mark Diakhese with a little bit of back and forth on Twitter. Is that a fight? Mark's coming off a defeat recently. Obviously, to him to fight back in London would be a big thing for him as well. Is that a fight that still interests you?
Oh, I'm literally at the point I'll fight anybody.
Yeah. And
put my fiance in there, I'll kick the shit out of her.
You'd also said as well that Diego Sanchez has been. We lost him.
We'll get him back. We can fill some airtime as we get him back. No, we won't. We'll edit this. We'll edit this from here because there's a lot of stuff here. Back in 2 seconds.
Hey folks, welcome back to obviously Fight Talk. Unfortunately, the technical gremlins got us there with Stevie Ray. Stevie was giving up a bit of his time this afternoon, or this evening, I should say. He was busy from when the call. He was busy 5 minutes after the call. We just lost the connection.
Yeah,
but
reconnect.
Thanks, Stevie, for the time coming on to obviously Fight Talk, and hopefully we will get you on soon when that contract gets signed. If that contract gets signed, should do.
Yeah.
No reason why it shouldn't. But disappointing. We were starting to get into who do you want to fight next. But yeah, these things happen when you run a podcast over Skype.
Yeah.
But
let's talk about some fights.
Let's get some fights, and let's not get the B Dorman on.
B Dorman.
It's a news thing. B Dorman. We're not saying he's the best. Just saying there's nobody better. So welcome back to obviously Fight Talk, and we are now joined by Brendan Dorman. We're not saying he's the best, just saying there's nobody better. So Brendan, welcome back to obviously Fight Talk, my man.
Always speaking truth. Like to hear it.
You've been away, and the YouTube commenters are saying it's not the same without Brendan Dorman.
Really?
Yeah, one guy said that.
Yeah, the one guy.
Yeah.
Oh, one guy.
Yeah.
Well, one is better than zero.
Yeah, but like at that one guy, I was like, hey, what the fuck? What about me and Rob? But then I'm like, yeah, I understand.
Yeah.
But
If it was like 10, it'd be, a cautionary tale.
Yeah.
We'll be okay, but I missed you all too. I'm back.
He's
Excellent.
back. I just think you didn't like my sitting room from the home editions. What we're going to do is we're going to look ahead to UFC Fight Night 1, 2, 4, Stevens versus Choi. This is taking place on Sunday evening. Not too sure why that is, but Sunday evening it is. And let's look at opening the main card. People are questioning the format of the card and the layout, but opening the main card nonetheless is Kamaru Usman taking on Emil Meek in the opener. Brendan, what do you think it is? This is a great fight at welterweight. This, I think, really is going to answer a lot of questions for Usman, but as well, it's going to see where Meek is. You know, Usman is considered the boogeyman in some way of this division.
Yeah, I know Usman a little bit from my time in Florida. He's a freak of an athlete, man, and I think there's some truth in that. He's a little bit feared or whatever. I don't know what that is either. I can hear it though.
Yeah.
But anywho, his base, like, he used to kind of serve as like the wrestling coach / fighter. Like, he'd help a lot of guys with wrestling down in Boca at Black Zillions camp. Now that camp's pretty much split up. I mean,
Fucking internet, man.
What's going on?
I don't know. Brendan, you're frozen in time. Nope.
oh no,
Yeah.
motherfucker.
Yeah.
Do you think that was the noise?
I don't know.
I don't
It
know
seemed
what
to
that
be.
was.
You were just saying that the Black Zillions camp is starting to dissolve, basically.
No, yeah, well, I don't know that it is. I'm not down there, you know. I have friends down there that tell me things, but, you know, who knows what's true and what's not. The point being, Usman has an incredible base in grappling and has become this vicious striker. He's not the most polished, but he is another Henry Hooft guy with power, you know, similar to a lot of guys that he's done really well with. The thing is he's going against another super put you to sleep one-punch striker, you know, who didn't do it last fight, but that was a super impressive win. Jordan Mean, I believe, was his last one, and that was a unanimous decision. So you got a guy that's like on the cusp of breaking that, you know, that plateau of here I am, I might be on a stage soon, and you got another guy who's kind of been under the radar, but interesting fight. I see Usman probably taking it to the ground and exploiting him there. Why take a chance if you have such a dominance in one area? You know, I mean, who knows? Maybe I don't know enough about what's his name's grappling, but what is it? Mills?
Meek.
Oh, Meek Mills. Freudian.
Virtually identical.
But anywho, yeah, I don't know enough about his grappling to say for sure, but I haven't seen it, and there usually is a reason why you haven't seen it if you haven't, right? Yeah. So I see Usman probably taking him down, or, you know, using that to wear him down and then taking him out standing. But I like him in the fight. He's a huge favorite, by the way.
Yeah,
huge.
Really big favorite.
In Vegas.
I really like the fight as well. Looking back at Usman's last one, it was interesting because he won by knockout. But he kind of got hit a little bit by Sergio Moraes, who I wouldn't really put on the same level as Mech or Meek, whichever way you want to say it, in terms of striking. So I definitely think, I'm not sure I agree with the odds completely. I would side with Usman, especially because of the grappling. He seems to be able to grapple pretty much everybody he's fought. But
his wrestling's incredible because it's like it's like Yoel Romero and GSP, like Khabib too, but Khabib's is more technique in a way. He's very strong and he's incredibly technical, but he's not a superhuman of an athlete, right?
Yeah.
Like Usman's like a GSP, Yoel, like he's a super, like he could have been a professional blank player. You know what I mean? He could have been he's an athlete.
Yeah.
So his grappling's based on that. Those guys are always the scariest because they can kind of just impose it when they want to, normally.
Yeah, exactly.
So.
Yeah, he's an excellent. So is Mech as well. He's an excellent athlete. If you look at him, he's built like he looks like
he's jacked up.
He's jacked up, and it seems like he has cardio. In his last win, there was a lot of grappling in that, and for parts of it, I think it was the second round, he was on the worst end of it, and he didn't really look too tired at the end. He didn't look completely gassed. So it's a very interesting fight. I think it's one of them fights that will really tell you a lot about both guys and will really kind of show what the division is in the next couple of months. It will put somebody in a position of contendership.
I love fights like this, though, like crossroad fights, right? They're like meeting at the crossroads.
Exactly.
It's great. Sorry, Noel.
Yeah.
Well, I think that Meek should be held and the statue should be built because he knocked Pal Harris out. And Pal Harris didn't hold on to that knockout too long.
Didn't hold on to his consciousness.
I don't know about this. What do you mean he knocked out Pal Harris?
In Venator.
To
get into the UFC.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, after 45 seconds of
round. He's unlikable, so
yeah, exactly.
Kudos.
Yeah. That's what I mean. We should be forever grateful for him.
He's an excellent character.
In some way, Meek, there's a lot of unknown for Meek because he's promotion hopped. He's fought on Venator, he's fought on Cage 32, Fight Exclusive. He's super challenged. He's fought on a lot of the European scene. So a lot of them is unknown, and what we've seen is excellent. Plus, Valhalla plays the whole Viking thing.
I love his
I'm loving it.
His look.
But for the same way, Usman for some way, and I know he hasn't gone completely under the radar. But when you look at Usman, people are only really starting to talk about Usman the second half of last year.
Yeah.
And like he's in the UFC since 2015, and people are really only bigging him up and talking about him now. But I agree, this is a crossroads fight, but more so. I think if Usman was to lose this, it's more damaging from him than if Meek was to lose this.
I agree.
I think Meek is only in his second UFC fight here, and he's fighting the boogeyman in the division, apart from Darren Till.
You also have to talk about as well Meek's his time out as well. He's been out for almost, I think, over a year now. Since his last fight.
Has it been that long?
Since this is Vija, and it doesn't actually seem that long when you look back. And watch that last fight. It doesn't seem like it was that long. It just feels like he debuted only a couple of months ago, but it's been almost a year or maybe
he's been off in the mountains of Norway building boats, getting ready to siege villages.
Another thing as well, he's made the move and trained with a lot of Extreme Couture. He's trained with Dewey Cooper for the last couple of months alongside. Yeah. So I think that's a great move.
I didn't
even know he was with Dewey. Sorry, Dewey.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Yeah.
Oops.
Yeah. And he's in there.
I can't watch Vegas from Massachusetts, you know. Yeah.
But that's the big thing with Dewey. We were seeing what the fighters coming out of Dewey's camp are capable of, and the striking ability. Yeah. So it'll be interesting.
He's such a good coach. Yeah. His name will be there. There's a couple guys.
It seems to be now, doesn't it?
Dorman. Yeah. But there's a couple guys' names that should break the surface soon. Him being one. He's gaining. Finally getting some recognition. That guy's such a great striking coach.
Do you think a little bit, Brendan, that this is almost like, MMA is still such a relatively young sport, and obviously, here in Ireland, Coach Kavanagh is well renowned now because of Conor doing what he's doing and breaking through. But for a long time in MMA, it seemed to be the same coaches, didn't it? The same
Greg
gyms.
Jackson.
Yeah.
Faraz,
well, now you look at the stuff like Dewey Cooper. You look at Perillo, what he's doing with that slappy land.
Perillo recently only got kind of recognition.
We talked about Perillo, didn't we?
Yeah.
I think I had said, I thought that's what I was referencing, like another guy who's like at that cusp. Striking coaches, because here's the thing: is the guys you're going to mention and the guys that go back, and the reason Kavanagh was a bit of a unicorn in Ireland, but he wouldn't be here, is the jiu-jitsu, right?
Yeah.
And MMA is its foundation is in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. So all the MMA schools back in the day when it was cage fighting, and I was young enough to actually do anything. It was all based on Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. So the school was a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu school, and then they kind of get you ready for MMA, bring in a guy that might have boxed a little bit. It was very partitioned minus the grappling, right? The grappling was regimented. The striking was like, we'll try to figure some shit out. Now people are smartening up to that shit is not going to work anymore. It's just not. That's where Conor's kind of unicornish in the fact that if he hadn't found Kavanaugh, you have to know some grappling. Even though Conor gets a lot of shit for not grappling, he's definitely not Khabib. But he doesn't have to be. Like, that's not his strength, His strength is in his hands. So then when you understand grappling enough from a really good coach in Kavanaugh, then all of a sudden things start to happen, Because boxing alone won't do it, jiu-jitsu alone, unless you're Damian Maia. But even him now is like, people are catching up to him.
I think like Conor is a legit brown belt. John Kavanagh is not going to hand out a brown belt to a student unless he's legit. Like I just
haven't seen evidence of it though.
Yeah,
that's the only thing. I believe you, and I don't know any black belts that. Well, I do know some, but they're not on that stage that will hand out a brown belt. So I believe it by all accounts, but we haven't seen a high-level jiu-jitsu game from Conor. We just haven't seen.
I think one of the things that stands out for Connor's was, I think everyone says this when it says about the ground, his performance against Max Holloway. Like, he nullified Max Holloway, and again, that was with a torn ACL when he was doing that. So I think if you look at that fight,
they were both hurt. Max was 14 years old. Yeah. I think that fight's a little bit anomalous, honestly.
Yeah, but I just mean that's one part of the fight that you've seen is jiu-jitsu. You've seen his jiu-jitsu defense against Chad Mendes. You might argue Chad Mendes rushed, I should say, the finish. But Conor's defense to get out, but Conor's defense to turn out of that and get out of that was good defense. Like you gotta tip the cap
against
to
a
it.
Black belt like Diaz, he didn't look like a brown belt.
Yeah. Well, he was also fucked in that fight.
I think
he was also hurt. He was hurt though, so that's what I'm just. Exactly, I'm playing devil's advocate.
Yeah.
I think
you play it so well.
It's not. It has nothing to do with my T-shirt. It's just we haven't seen it. We haven't seen a brown belt. Your only thing holding you from being a black belt as a brown belt is how well you teach, really. Because by the time you've hit brown belt, especially when you've been it for, I think he's been a brown belt 2 years now, like you're black belt level, you're right there. It's not, you don't get that as a consolation prize.
Interesting
so we just haven't seen it, period.
Very interesting as well is that he actually was Instagramming last night and it was all about the defence to a mounted guillotine choke, I think it was. He was rolling with Paddy Houlihan. Paddy has his own gym here in Dublin as well. Paddy, the Houlihan, former UFC
I like
fighter.
That guy.
So Paddy's jiu-jitsu is high level. So, it was interesting that Conor's whole post was designated to jiu-jitsu and technique. So, interesting to see if that's what he's heavily focused on. And of course, good training partner was just on the MMA hour as well today. Goody Nelson is a high-level grappler as well.
Speaking of one of the points that you made before we move on to the next one and make a pick, I hate, one of my pet peeves in MMA and pretty much in anything is when somebody says that this guy isn't good because this guy is better. Yeah. Like when someone says Conor McGregor is not a good grappler because Nate Diaz is a better grappler and out-grappled him. It doesn't work like that. Just because Nate Diaz is better doesn't make the guy who lost
there's levels worse. Too. And I was being disingenuous, but I told you I was being disingenuous.
Yeah. I'm not talking about that as an example.
That's all.
I'm talking about that as an example.
All that transition happened because he was hurt. Yeah. I mean, it's a chicken egg thing, right? With that, and it's anomalous. I'm not using that as an actual example. Yeah. The point is like, is Conor going to out-grapple Khabib? Of course he's not. If you think that, then that's wishful. It's very impossibly wishful. You see what I'm saying? Like there's levels, man.
Devil's advocate,
Diaz
Brendan.
Get out-grappled the shit out of him by Khabib too.
Devil's advocate, Brendan.
Rory like he did. Go ahead. Tell me how wrong I am.
Is Khabib going to outstrike Conor?
No fucking way. Of course not.
Just thought I'd throw that in,
Of course not.
But maybe he could, because I hate when people say, you see what I'm saying? Like it's all relative.
Yeah, it's
MMA.
Yeah.
He outstruck Barboza.
Yeah, he did at the time. Yeah.
He did. He absolutely did. 100%. Yeah. Not a debate. He outstruck him. Period.
So who do we fancy here, Usman and Meek? Brandon, we know sometimes you don't pick, so we're not going to put you under that. What are we thinking here, Rob?
I'm going with Usman to be able to smother him for the best part of the 3 rounds, be able to keep him on his back, be able to land enough and clinch him enough against the cage just to do enough to get a decision. But if he strikes him like he struck with Sergio Moraes, I can see him getting caught as well, because he left himself open plenty of times. And someone with the power, as Brendan said, a guy who has one punch knockout power like Mech, he can finish him. But I just think he's going to be able to out-grapple him, outpoint him for the duration of the 3.
Who did you pick?
Usman.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just curious.
Yeah. I agree with that breakout, everything you said, but do you know what? I don't know.
You gonna go for it?
These, you know.
You picking the Viking?
I'd love to pick the Viking.
He's just,
man. He
I
plays
just think he's a little unknown.
A Norwegian heavy metal band.
Yeah,
like
I just think he's a little unknown as well. Well, look, Brendan loves him even more. Look, but I just think he has that little bit of unknown.
How do I not know this? More about this guy.
I know, right in
Jesus, I gotta study up on him.
I can't remember the name of the band, but just write in Emil Mech band and you'll find it. Yeah,
there's really good metal from over there.
Yeah, really good. Went down a what would you call it? A rabbit hole. Went down a rabbit hole.
Yeah, they
on
call
Saturday
it like
night.
Scandinavian death metal. It's really, some of it's really good.
Yeah.
Anyway.
I see. I agree with what Rob's saying, his breakdown and how Usman can win it. But you know, I just see me catching him.
Do it.
I just see him catching him. And especially working under Dewey Cooper.
Yeah, I can't wait to see what his hands look like.
I honestly think it could be the element of surprise here. Like Usman, in a way, was reminding me of Mike Perry looking by and looking past Ponzinibbio.
I also wonder if he was working with Brad Tavares as well, and Brad Tavares' coach just it's on the tip of my tongue. I can't think of a K1 fighter fought Mark Hunt in a crazy fight. I don't know why I can't say it.
Banner?
Say it again.
Jerome LeBanner?
No. It'll come to me in a minute, but it just makes me wonder if he's training with him as well. Excellent striker. It'll come to me eventually. But yeah.
I'm gonna go. Mikir, the Valhalla Viking, is going to ruin the parade and the party here, and it's just, I think it's the unknown.
Peter Aerts?
No.
Damn it, sorry.
Brendan's shouting out names now. But yeah, are you making a selection, Brendan, or are you just going to say, good fight, let's get it on?
Yeah, no, I'll pick. I don't see any fights I can't pick on this one.
Okay.
I'll pick Usman by TKO stoppage in the second, ground and pound. Fuck, I hate no more ground and pound, ground striking.
See, I agree with that, but I don't know. I just, the gut feeling just says...
Of course, yeah.
Go with it.
Go with it.
I usually go with them.
You'll be more mad if you don't.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, there's no I know I'm not giving a super breakdown of why. I just think it's the unknown. He's working with Dewey Cooper. We've seen what Dewey Cooper's doing with his
Ray
fighters.
Sefo.
Oh, Ray Sefo. Yeah.
Oh, Ray. Ray owned World Series of Fighting.
Exactly. Yeah. I'm not sure.
He's a great guy.
I'm not sure if Mech is working with him, but he's working with Brad Tavares, who works a lot with.
Is it Mech or Meek? I'm calling him Mech and Mick. Okay, Mech. No, but I just unknown. We broke this one down for ages because we went off on tangents. Next fight, Paige Van Zandt taking on Jessica Rose Clark. It's the return of the beauty queen in Paige Van Zandt. She was the picturesque girl that they wanted to promote, and then she ran into, was it Rose Namajunas she ran into first? Tisha Torres in Invicta, but in the UFC it was Rose Namajunas.
In the UFC, right.
And Rose Namajunas absolutely beat the pulp out of her. The scrambles, and then of course
Michelle Warson, but I was thinking
Michelle Warson then beat her as well.
That was later, right?
Yeah. So this one, she has a win over Beck Rawlings, her opponent,
which was
Rose
a beautiful knockout.
What are we expecting here from Paige Van Zandt? Is she more than just a cover picture on Sports Illustrated for the UFC?
I think in this fight the fans win. Just kidding.
Pervert.
Dude, she's very athletic.
Yeah.
I don't know that she's tough.
Yeah.
Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Anytime she's kind of been in that, and the thing is she left Team Alpha Male, and I thought that was the one thing that could kind of get her there, right? Yeah. If you notice with like Team Alpha Male guys, they're all like go out on your sword type fucking dudes, all of them. They're all like, we don't tap.
Yeah.
Like they just have this mental conditioning, maybe because of the wrestling background. I don't really know if that comes from Uriah. He went on his Shield a lot. They all did. They're all like that, and I don't know if that's maybe the underlying reason why she left them, or maybe it's just Cody. But the point being, She just doesn't strike me as like someone with a broken nose that can pull a Rory. Oh, that's the exception, not the rule. I don't know. She's very talented. She does crazy shit. She's got like, she has fantastic cadence when she needs to, but she doesn't manipulate it enough. It's like she doesn't have the right people in place coaching her, maybe. And I mean no disrespect to any of her coaches. I don't even know who's coaching her at this point. But like someone who's a fantastic dancer, let's say, they understand rhythm very well. And you should also know how to adjust your cadence and be a good striker because of it. If you just have a coach who's kind of like teaching you the path to that, you know, even if there's coaches that don't call it cadence, but they understand cadence. There's boxers too, you know, because in boxing it's kind of everything. I don't know. I can't. I see her losing, and I don't think it'll be that much of an upset.
Yeah,
I don't know.
On the tough one, I do think she's tough. I think in the Rose Namajunas fight, she showed she was tough in parts. I think maybe.
I mean, she's in the UFC. She's not a, you know.
Yeah,
she's not tough.
I thought she pushed through that pretty well. Like she was getting beat up for probably 4 of them 5 rounds on the ground. So I thought she was tough there. Maybe the Michelle Waterson one was a bit. Maybe she showed less, or she was kind of not getting.
It was that fight. Yeah. That was a little.
Yeah, she kind of got beaten fairly easy. The Beck Rawlins performance was very, very good. So she's been up and down, but she's also, you know, again, she's really young in her career, so it's hard to say how she is. Jessica Rose Clark, she fought against the other Aussie girl, Beck Rawlins last, and she looked very good. She's what I'd kind of describe her as like a kind of workman-like fighter, where she just does everything pretty well.
She does enough to win a fight.
Yeah, and I do think I'm probably going to pick her as well because of that. I think she's just better in most areas than Paige Van Zandt. I do think Paige Van Zandt probably has more of an X factor on the feet, where you kind of seen the Beck Rawlins one where she knocked her out with that jumping
I think
crazy
karate kick.
Yeah.
I remember I picked him, and when we throw it back to the Rose Namajunas fight, I was like, scrambles is where Rose got to win. I just say scrambles when Rose fights, but funny, I think scrambles is where Paige Van Zandt can win this fight.
Yeah, she is quite good there. Yeah,
like I think she can be. Do you know what it is? She's wild in a non-violent way. Does that make sense? As that she can be a bit wild in the flurries she throws, and they're obviously not insane knockout powers, but she's got finishes in her as she done to Beck Rawlins. So I think if momentum, in a way, Brendan, it's almost to agree with what you were saying. I think when momentum of a fight is behind Paige Van Zandt, that's when she steams. But when the momentum is against her, that's when she buckles.
A front runner of sorts.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, to say tough, I don't mean like at a barbecue. She'd fuck bitches up.
Yeah.
I'm saying, like, when it comes to the highest level, a ranked UFC fighter, we're talking about the toughest people on the planet, right? Period. So when it comes to, like, if it gets tough, if the fight gets tough, is she the type to just persevere and pull out a submission when she's hurt?
Yeah, I agree. I know. I think the
momentum's a good way to put it.
Yeah, I think the definition of tough, the way you're going with it, I agree with. Where she lasted against Rose Namajunas, she held on and she kind of lasted longer than she probably a lot of other fighters would, but she never looked like she could turn it around. I suppose that's
right.
The way you were saying.
It was just like hanging on without like. Yeah. It's almost like Bisping not tapping the GSP's choke in a way.
Do you know what fight? Do you know what fight sums it up? She doesn't have in her what Miesha Tate had when she beat Holly Holm.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. That's what I mean. Like a submission when you're getting fucked up. Yeah. You know what I mean? She was losing that fight badly.
Oh, yeah.
All of a sudden, like, and it wasn't just the submission, it was the way she did it. Like, Holly tried to spike her onto her fucking spinal cord. Yeah. Should have been a disaster for my girlfriend. But
congratulations, actually, she's
Thank you.
Pregnant. Yeah, congratulations.
I'm very excited.
Apologies, a little beat.
I didn't think I was going to announce till later, but she jumped all over it. So
Misha and Brendan.
Misha.
But yeah, funny. I'm gonna pick Paige here.
Nice.
I think it's a 3-round fight.
Did you not say you were gonna pick before the?
I was thinking about it, but I've talked myself into it.
Good.
So I think a 3-round fight is going to suit her as well. Okay. There's not the main event or the 5 rounds pressure in it. So yeah, I'm gonna go with Paige Van Zandt here.
Yeah, I think I know like it's a more manageable fight for Paige Van Zandt. I think this is our level. Like this is the girl she can be. But I'm gonna go with Jessica Rose Clark to outpoint her.
This is the girl she can be, but she's not gonna beat her because I'm picking Rose Clark. Brendan, what's your shot?
Yeah, I don't know. It's tough because I feel like matchmakers now know enough to get wins for their pretty boys and girls.
Yeah.
So I'm going to pick Paige via matchmaking.
Heard it here first. Sean Shelby's going to get in. He's going to smash 2 beer cans. Stone Cold Stunner. And then Bill, and then she'll come in and finish. Yeah, brilliant. Wonderful stuff. Co-main event of the evening sees Vitor Belfort taking on Uriah Hall. I have to say, this is it's a weird fight. It depends which Uriah Hall, for me, turns up as well. The Uriah Hall can turn up and be like the best looking guy, doing crazy spin attacks. He's a big win in a fight that he was losing, but it also depends what Dr. Vitor Belfort has been seen recently. For me, it depends if he has Jesus on his trunks, because when he has Jesus on his trunks, he looks ripped. When Jesus isn't on his trunks, he doesn't look ripped. But I primarily think like a Uriah Hall that turns up wins this fight every time. A Uriah Hall who just, that sometimes Uriah Hall just doesn't turn up for a fight, Vitor beats him. But more importantly, what does Brendan Dorman think?
I think that Jesus has some really good human growth hormones, somatropin, test, and I think the fight's not in Brazil.
Yeah.
So probably a song for Vitor, I would think. Just being reasonable here. Because his body like immediately went to dog shit. Uriah Hall's strength is his weakness. It's that he's very relaxed, which allows him to pull off a lot of his insane striking technique, but he's too relaxed sometimes. And he gets caught, like when he beat Mousasi, he was losing, and then he pulls off this crazy technique because he was calm amidst the storm, right? And he does this a lot, but when you saw him like fight Gastelum before Gastelum was what he is now, way before that, you were like, what the fuck? Like, this guy was supposed to win. He's supposed to be the guy. And you just saw him kind of break early. And you've seen him break since a few times. Yeah. So it's funny that we just kind of talked on this tough thing, and I wasn't thinking, I don't mean tough the show, I mean toughness. Yeah. We were just talking about this with Paige, and I wasn't thinking of, like, he's one of the best examples of it ever. When he's down in a fight, he's, like, frustrated and you know what I mean? Like, it's almost like he doesn't care. It's hard to explain. He's so talented, and he's probably the nicest guy ever. And if I met him, I probably wouldn't say all this shit. I don't know him at all, so I will.
Do you know what it is? It's like sorry to interrupt you. It's like I'll use an NFL analogy. It's like having this incredible wide receiver, and like one game he'll go, oh my god, this guy is the greatest receiver in the world. And then for like 5 or 6 games, he just doesn't show up, and you're like, what the
Randy
fuck,
Moss.
man?
Yeah. This guy named Randy Moss.
But it's like he can be the MVP of a team, and then you don't see him for like 6-7 weeks.
Like if you're a casual fan and you see him that one day he's amazing, you probably think he's the best fighter in the world.
But when you look at his last 3 fights, his last 3 defeats, I should say, not his last 3 fights. His last fight was a victory over Christoph Jacob. But if you look at his previous 3 fights before that were losses, but they're big names: Gegard Mousasi, Derek Brunson, and Robert Whittaker, the reigning champion.
He done okay against Robert Whittaker as well.
It's like he falls at, and the reason why I'm using the frustration is because I remember watching, we're saying tough, and I actually do mean The Ultimate Fighter. I remember when Uriah Hall was on The Ultimate Fighter, Chael Sonnen was saying, this guy could beat Anderson Silva right now.
Yeah.
He could beat Anderson Silva right now. That's how good this guy is. And that's why I'm using the frustration thing, because I think when Uriah Hall is turned on, he's one of the most enjoyable fighters to watch. Like, the techniques...
He's wonderful to watch.
It's phenomenal.
His technique is...
Well, it's just like that knockout on The Ultimate Fighter. Like,
oh God, savage. He does that in sparring a lot, too much, to be honest. If I had a student that was knocking that many sparring partners out, he'd need to sit down with me. But he's a fucking killer when he wants to be a killer, and sometimes he wants to sit on the bench, like the NFL analogy. Right? You could use a few, but it works perfect. That's exactly it. It's like when he's on, he's great. When he's off, you're like, what happened? What happened to you? Yeah. And it just seems like another case of this toughness thing that I'm speaking to. It's the same thing. It's like I don't see him ever coming from behind with an eye fucked up. He's not that guy.
In fairness,
he's a
his
front
last
runner,
win-
like in horse racing.
His
you know?
last
He's a
win
front runner.
goes against that grain because he was losing to
There's
Jocko.
two fights that I'll point out that it differentiated that, but I do agree.
Mousasi as
The
well.
Mousasi one as well. That was probably a little
Kind
bit
of, but he
more
didn't get
luckier.
like fucked up.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah, he was getting beaten.
Beforehand.
Yeah. The Jocko one,
He was
was
losing on the cards, but he never got like
He was very
fucking
close.
jiggly.
He was very close to getting choked out.
Yeah, choked down the force, but he wasn't getting beat up
Did Bell
as in.
save him? I can't remember.
I'm
I can't
talking
remember.
about pain.
Yeah, no,
you know what I mean?
Yeah. That's one thing I will say is that Vitor Belfort is that type of guy where maybe it kind of works against and for him, where Vitor Belfort could come in and he can start really quickly and he can hurt Uriah Hall really, really quickly.
Yeah.
But
Which
his gas,
he does do sometimes.
Exactly, he does do sometimes. But also, his gas tank doesn't last that long. And a lot of guys who have beat Uriah Hall are guys with good gas tanks that can beat him over 3 rounds. So
Good point.
Is Vitor a good opponent for Hall? Because he will bring the action. Is he a good opponent for Uriah Hall to counter?
Another crossroads fight, differently in a different kind of way.
Yeah.
They're going this way, like it's different directions. One's like kind of trying to come up. It's a slow, gradual plane.
Yeah.
The other one's doing this, and
Yeah.
they're just meeting.
It's
It's
Vitor
another
Belfort's last
crossroads
fight,
up
right?
there.
Yeah,
It's Vitor's last fight.
it's a swan song.
Well, he said it was.
Oh,
anyway.
it definitely is?
Well, he said it was, so
Okay. All right. No, I didn't know. I was saying
You heard
that.
it here first on Obviously Fight Talk by Robert Powell.
Speculatively.
Yeah,
Excellent.
He said it was,
What?
his next one would be his last fight. It's a good fight, but I don't know. It's a hard one to rate. I think it's a really, really hard one to rate. In
For
terms
me,
of
it's the simple.
But I think
it's the Uriah Hall coin flip.
Yeah.
Which one turns up?
Exactly,
If
yeah.
the right one turns up, he beats Vitor and he beats him handily.
yeah, I think he has all the
I'll
attributes.
tell you what.
And
I always do this. It's like the 90-second rule, or even a minute. I'll tell you a minute into the fight.
Yeah.
yeah.
You know
Could
what
be
I mean?
over with it.
As soon as I see him moving around, I'll know.
Yeah.
I'll know.
You'd like to see the old MMA fan, and you would like to see Vitor go out. You know what I mean, with a win.
He wins, he'll
and
probably keep going,
technically, we're saying it's in Missouri. If it's his last fight, does he give a fuck if he's caught by USADA?
money suspension probably.
No.
Yeah.
He's clearly not against it.
Yeah.
Allegedly.
Allegedly.
30 fucking years.
Yeah. So what's your pick?
I'm gonna say Uriah Hall turns up.
Yeah.
I'm afraid that he might have too much respect for Belfort, though. You know the way sometimes the way that happens for some guys is that they're like, "Oh, you're my hero." Like, God always stands for me when Pat Berry fought Mirko Krokop. He was way too respectful of Krokop. He should have went after him.
Yeah.
But so I'd be a little worried at that for Hall because he's like, Belfort is a legend of the game. This is potentially his last fight.
Yeah.
Oh, hey, great stuff. Let's spar and get beaten, because Belfort, I could see him going out in a sword. But if the right Uriah Hall, Uriah Hall, the right Uriah Hall.
I think Uriah Hall has all the attributes to beat him. He has the youth. He should really beat him at this point in Belfort's career.
Of course.
Belfort just has that thing where, of course, he rushes at the start. He could land something. Uriah Hall isn't necessarily great defensively going backwards. He can land, but sometimes he gets caught. So that's the only thing I'll be afraid of. But apart from that, if Vitor doesn't land pretty early and look good early, I think Uriah Hall should beat him handily. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm taking Hall because it's in the U.S.
We could have just said
A
that
regional
as well.
pick.
Respect, porra, caralho.
Your main event, this is an absolute cracker of a fight as well. In the 145 division, we've got Jeremy Stevens taking on Doho Choi. This is a cracker. Brendan, I want to let you talk briefly about this one first.
Savage of a fight, man. This could be a first round, and it could be boring. Who knows? I doubt it. Stevens at that weight he really is, like, as much as he made a goof by saying it when he did, he really is a put you to sleep guy, and Choi, for that weight class, has probably the craziest chin I've ever seen. See, the thing with the Swanson fight was Swanson was catching him, but Swanson's never really been a power guy. He'll hurt you, and then he'll do more damage, and then he'll hurt you again. You know what I mean? It's cumulative. Like he did with Seaver. The only guy he ever really, like, one punch knocked out was Oliveira with that overhand right. Yeah. And he's kind of like a chinny guy or whatever. Yeah. He cracks, Whereas Cup doesn't really put people to sleep. Cub showed good heart in that fight, because when I think of him, that's what I'm always going to think of now, is that incredible fight. It's one of the best I've ever seen. Yeah. It was so good. It was so much incredible technique and everything else. But the point being is it's kind of like irresistible force, a movable object, or whatever analogy you want to use, where you've got power, and a guy that can take it. And neither of them are like a better striker than the other. I don't think. I think they're I think Stevens has better, like Little Heathen has better like kicks, right? He's got a better kick game, maybe a few more tricks up his sleeve. And the Superboy's more of a straight ahead like timing guy, very accurate. Very accurate. Like, so they're both good. They're just good in different ways. Yeah. I don't think one's much better of a striker, but I think they'll stand and fight. I don't see that being a jiu-jitsu chess match, I
think Choi is a much better striker. For me, Brendan, what you were saying, like, I think Choi here will use his technique and almost his straight punches and technique and accuracy, because a lot of times Jeremy Stephens sits down on his shots when he's thrown them, and that could be the downfall.
Too much.
He gets caught in them. He starts winging, and I think like it's the sort of fight that you go, oh my God, what a fight! Yeah. But at the same time, you're like, holy shit, man, defend yourself as well. And they're the fights that where he shines. But I don't know. I just see Choi getting clipping him here, and I just see him getting the finish here. I think
bringing up the leg kicks was a good one, because that Gilbert Melendez fight, Gilbert Melendez leg after that fight with Jeremy Stephens was horrific. It was absolutely horrific. And if you watch the way,
hematoma, I think.
Oh yeah, it was
close to it.
It looked like a sausage. Yes, it looked like an uncooked sausage. It was disgusting looking. But if you look at the way Choi fights, as you said, he's a very boxing heavy style, and he's very boxing heavy in his stance. His front leg is always there. In his fight against Cub Swanson, Cub didn't really do anything with it. But I could see Jeremy Stephens really kicking him in the front leg. I couldn't really see it can happen.
Cub's a tricky striker, not a power striker. He's so different. He's the opposite of Stephens. Maybe the opposite of Choi too, but he's definitely the opposite of Stephens in that Cub's like fake uppercut into lead 10 high kick. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, that's crazy, insanity. He just does crazy shit, but he doesn't put people to sleep. Yeah. Stephens lands, and you're going to sleep, but he has to land, and Choi doesn't like move his head much. It's like there's a lot of damage that can be taken in this fight, and it can happen really early, Yeah. He does he sits too much on his punches. Yeah. He does have vicious leg kicks. He does have a heavy. Everything everyone's saying is correct. Yeah. But what's going to happen? Who's made more adjustments since their last fight? Yeah. Who's watched more film? It's going to be that match. I didn't mean it wouldn't be a chess match. I just meant it wouldn't be on the ground.
Yeah. I think it's going to be one of the fights where you're literally just sat looking at your TV on.
Yeah.
And the big thing as well is 5 rounds.
I hope so.
It's also a big test for Choi, because, as we said in the must-watch fights, it's a weird one that the UFC will match someone like Choi, who just come off a really tough fight against a high-ranked guy, and match him up again with a really tough guy, highly ranked, and coming off a win. So they obviously see a lot in him. So it's going to be a big test to see what Choi can do coming back after a vicious loss. Not that he got beaten up, he was dominated like throughout the whole thing, and it was one-sided. It wasn't, but he got probably hit as much as he's got hit in his whole career, and now he has to come back against another killer.
If you go back one more fight for Choi, now again it's going back a while, it's in the summer of 2016, but Thiago Tavares, who is, you could say, similar-ish style fighter to Jeremy Stephens, similar sort of throws, heavy, wild, sits down on his shot sometimes.
Could be similar as well,
and he's finished both
on the level.
But he's finished both of them in the first round, so he's fought similar style. It'd be interesting to see the straight punches versus Jeremy Stephens looping crazy. Exactly. Yeah, so that's
this is striking. Is everyone who's watching that watches and likes when I give technical little advice? There's a few I see in the comment section. Quickest line, right? A to B is always it's a straight line. Punch, fastest path. Yeah, so when someone wings, it's like street fight. It's self-defense 101. Yeah. When someone's coming at you and they tend to throw hooks or overhands, it's just about being straight. Yeah. It's the slicing paper effect, right? Yeah. It's like the way you want to think about your hands is you're cutting through a piece of paper. Like Phil Nurse said to me, probably one of the first times I trained with him, stop falling in love with your power. And he's one of those guys, whenever he'd say something, I never would get it then. I'd get it by the time I saw him the next time. Yeah. What he was saying was like, you've got enough. Like, it's all about landing. It's not about, because it's too slow now, and now I can clip you. Because Phil's he's smaller than I am. So he could catch me whenever he wants with speed. So stop falling in love with your power was like, stop telegraphing. You're trying to hit too hard. Instead of just, because someone like Stevens has natural power. Yeah. It's like when you watch Ngannou move, he's relaxed, man. That's where a lot of that comes from, is he's not tensing till probably it actually hits. Yeah. His hand's probably loose like this, and then, that's how it hits. It's like, I wish we were all in the same room so I could show you more, but it's about relaxation. And like you said, you'll see him throw a right hand, and then his right leg will follow it after. The momentum, and it's a guy that's an accurate straight puncher. Usually I'd favor if it was only punching, but there's leg kicks, which changes the whole fucking dynamic. So I don't know.
Yeah, it's a really, really, really good fight, isn't it? Pick. Really, really. I'm gonna pick Doo Ho Choi. I think he's gonna come back. I think he could make it look easy if it happens the way you said it, and the way you're talking about the straight punches versus the looping punches. Doo Ho Choi, if you watch the way he fights, he makes his reads really, really quickly against Sam Cecilia, and Sam Cecilia is on a completely different level than Jeremy Stevens. I can see at that point, but I think if he can make reads early and Jeremy Stevens doesn't go to leg kicks, doesn't move around as much as he did against Gilbert Melendez, and fights maybe the way he used to fight, I think Doo Ho Choi can land something really early.
I'm on the Doo Ho Choi train as well. I just think he's going to be faster, be more accurate, and he's going to use the momentum of Stevens' attacks against him. And cut the angles and get out of there. I'd be interested. You're right, Brendan. He does get caught an awful lot. We've seen that in the Cub fight. But again, I just think Cub throws crazy technique, as you were saying as well. They're weird combinations and weird shots that Cub. Stevens doesn't really.
More traditional, but just kind of wings.
It's absolutely fucks the guard and shed as he's thrown them. So I just think that Doo Ho Choi is going to be fast. He's going to be accurate, and he's going to pick him off. I think we're going to be blown away.
Can't wait for that.
We haven't seen him in a while, and I always say, like, when these young guys go off and come back, you're looking and going, holy shit, this guy just went up so many levels. And it's quite funny. It seems to be the team, in a way, of today's breakdown is the crossroads. And I'm not saying Stevens is on the way down by any means, but I just think this is a big opportunity.
He's still a veteran.
Yeah, oh yeah. And I just think that Choi is on the way up more so, and I just think that time away, and the Cub Swanson, it could be a big learning curve from that defeat. I just see him getting the finish here.
What's your under the radar fight from the prelims?
Brendan hasn't picked.
I hasn't picked.
I'll pick, and then we'll do that.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go with Stevens, just on a gut.
Nice.
Just on a gut feeling.
Nice.
I don't like. The thing about Choi is he lands a lot, but he gets landed on. Unless he improves his head movement and his kind of like, or his footwork or something, to be a little more evasive and a little less press forward. Because Stevens can counter. He can fight as a counter puncher. He does load up, but I can see like the leg kick thing coming into play again too. I don't know. That's the way I see it playing out. I think Stevens is going to put him to sleep.
One thing as well, I think we don't give Stevens credit for not getting hit that much. He doesn't really get hit that much. He gets hit to the body quite a bit. He gets hit to the legs quite a bit, but to the face,
he's pretty evasive actually. Believe it or not.
Yeah. Like he seems like the guy who would get hit a lot the way he strikes.
Because most clubbing type punchers aren't evasive, but he is. He's anomalous as a fighter. Really is. He isn't fit in a category. No. You know.
Under the radar, I think it's the easy one to pick, isn't it? I can't believe it's the now. I know what it is, because it's going to be on Fight Pass, and it's going to be the Fight Pass main event, or FS1's prelims, whatever if you're in the US of A.
So FS1 sucks dick. Sorry.
Proudly brought to you by obviously Fight Talk. Elkins and Johnson. Crazy fight. Hard to believe it's so down the card.
Love it.
Big fight for Michael Johnson. Like again, this whole crossroads thing. Johnson is coming off 2 defeats. His last defeat was a heavy defeat as well to Justin Gaethje, and he got absolutely murdered by your boy Khabib. So Johnson is in a lot of thing, and then you swing the roundabout to the other side, and you look like Elkins is on a run, man. And that comeback against Becic, holy lamb, Jesus Christ, he's got the best tattoo in mixed martial arts as well. So for me here, Johnson goes on. Johnson talks. If you see him on Twitter, he talks a lot. I'm a top ranked guy, blah blah blah. top-ranked guys, man. You got to start winning, and that's no disrespect to Johnson, but he's 2 in a hole here, and this is a dangerous fight against a madman who isn't done until he's done.
Yeah, 2 fights in a row with him like that, right?
Yeah.
You know, of guys he's going against. Well, 3, of course, right? One doesn't even count. That was such a massacre. But he's going to 145. It'll be interesting. I don't know that Johnson's dynamic enough to be all that different 10 pounds down.
No,
you know, it's the guys that have that one punch power that when they move down. You know, especially like pre-USADA days. You know, I don't know. I root for the guy. We have the same circle, you know, of friends, but I don't know. It's tough for me to pick a winner. I like the fight, and I think they're just, like you said, trying to promote the undercard with that. Definitely. But there's also Thiago Alves used to be one of my, like, guys I loved watch fighting. I got to train with him once when I was down in Florida. He had the best leg kicks, just like Ernesto Hoost, or close to it. In an MMA context, but man, that guy is just falling off. Yeah. I'd like to see him get back on track. I don't know if it's too little, too late, but there's another under the radar one too.
Tough fight for him against Zach Cummins though, because you'd be fair like Zach
Cummins is a beast too. Absolutely. I know.
So it'll be interesting to see what style fight it is. I don't see Zach Cummins standing for too long with playing that game with.
No,
and Cummins is huge. Cummins is absolutely enormous as well for that weight class.
He's a massive dude for his weight class. Yeah. Is that one? They're 170 years.
Yeah, 170.
Right?
Yeah.
170.
Yeah. Because Alves tried that 155 move. Yeah. He used to watch when he fought GSP. He was 205, UFC 100. He's 205 in the cage.
He's so short and stocky though, isn't he? He's way
shorter than me.
Yeah.
Probably 5'8", 5'7".
Would you say it's a fair representation though, Brendan, to say that Thiago Alves is the classic, hasn't evolved his game as the sport has evolved? Maybe.
Well, I'm not good enough friends with him that I'm going to protect him. Yeah. I mean, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
When did he fall off? You know?
Yeah.
It wasn't George beat him into oblivion. I mean, George did that to everyone back then. Yeah. It wasn't that. It was a certain entity post an injury, you know. Couldn't make weight anymore, you know. Yeah. I mean, you look at the before and after, and it's right there killing you. And I don't like it any more than he'd like me saying it, but it is what it is, man. You know. If I'm not being honest, I always say this, then why even talk? You know?
Yeah.
It's right there. He was like a bodybuilder before. Yeah. Now he's an athlete.
I'm gonna go with under the radar the James Krause Alex Roy fight. I think it could be a good one. I like James Krause. I thought he was gonna do a little bit better in the UFC than he has done so far, but he made a comeback in his last one.
He was a Bama guy, right? Wasn't he?
James Krause? I don't believe so.
Who did he fight for before? What was his last?
I think he fought RFA or Titan or something.
Yeah, it was RFA.
He's fought for a long time.
I'm thinking of somebody else.
Yeah. I like that fight. I like that fight. He was on Tough twice, I think, wasn't he?
Maybe that's it.
Yeah, he was on Tough twice. Yeah, he won the Tough season, the last one, the Redemption one.
I still don't follow that shit. It bores me.
Either do I. I never watch it. I hate it.
I used to like it. Yeah. I liked it back in the day when the early days.
Yeah, when they used to piss in each other's pillows and stuff.
Ejaculate into one another's ejaculate into one another's raw fish stuff.
Yeah, you know, classy TV. Yeah.
Classy TV.
The first season had so many good fighters, man.
It did. The first
Chris Lieben and all in it. Fucking out of their bin. Yeah. Kenny Florian was in it. The first one was Griffin and Ting.
Yeah,
Kenny Florian? You mean Thomas Jefferson?
But Brian, I want to pick your brain for a minute. One thing.
Very good.
We didn't get you last week because you don't like being in our sitting rooms with us and the live feed. But Khabib, who's the next fight? Who would you like to see your man Khabib Nurmagomedov take on next?
Would I like to see?
Yeah.
I think Ferguson feels like the fight that should happen. If it's personal, then Conor. Mm-hmm. If it's business, then it's Ferguson.
What do you think will happen?
Neither.
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 He'll fight Tony, but I think Tony will fight Conor first.
Okay. And what do you think Khabib's going to do? Dustin Poirier, we were saying, is the only fighter in the top 8 apart from Eddie
Alvarez and Dustin Poirier.
Alvarez is probably going to be off for a long time after that case.
Enough. He deserved a title shot a long time ago.
Yeah.
He deserved one when he beat fucking RDA 100 years ago.
But what about...
Guy deserves a fucking shot at the belt, man.
100%, but what...
If Conor doesn't fight him by March, then Khabib fights Tony. So Conor better be working on that brilliant jiu-jitsu you talked about.
If Conor comes back and he's ready to fight and say he's ready to fight soon, it has to be Tony Ferguson. He's the interim.
He's going to knock him out. He'll knock Tony out.
Yeah, so that has to happen. So you think Khabib should wait and not fight between then?
Yep. 100%. He's fucking earned it, like, handily. He hasn't lost a round.
No, I completely agree, but he did say he wanted to fight a couple of times before. He wanted to fight once before.
That's fine.
Once before Ramadan. Once after Ramadan.
Feed him, Dustin. Good luck, Dustin. Good luck, buddy.
But that's what I was saying. It's the only 2 fights is Alvarez or Dustin Poirier.
Yeah,
it's absurd. And Alvarez is talking shit too, and I like his people, but I don't like what he's saying. Good luck, all of you. Good luck. They all talk all that shit. Johnson talks shit now after he got his face smashed in. And the night of, he was congratulatory. You know, it's fucking weird, man. That guy beat the fuck out of you. How are you talking shit?
That's some real bullshit.
Number one bullshit.
Number one bullshit.
What?
That's number one bullshit.
That's the greatest thing he's ever said. He's like, this is number one bullshit. He was talking to Luke Thomas, right?
Yeah.
It's fucking brilliant, man.
Yeah.
Thomas asked him about deserve thing. He's like, what, you think I not deserve? No? You think this bullshit guy tap like chicken? Nate Diaz. I fight them both same night. Why not? Why not fight them both? And he's like, this is a number one bullshit. Fucking brilliant. I love that dude.
I 2 things. After he beat and absolutely destroyed in his last fight, I tweeted Khabib is the best lightweight on the planet. And then I was only on, Facebook gives you memories, and I was sick a couple of days last year, and my memory was sitting at home, sick as a dog, but delighted because I got to listen to Khabib on MMA Hour, how the UFC are not pushing this guy.
Yeah.
He's an incredible fighter and one hell of a character, and he is. I think Khabib is deadly. And even where he's there going to fight them both in the one night, give me an hour's break, Joe Rogan. Just give me an hour. I think he is, and he's a danger for anyone. And I honestly think the fight we talked about on last week's show, Brendan, when you weren't here, I honestly think the McGregor-Khabib fight it's intriguing because it's the whole enormous. If it goes to the ground, and the pressure that Khabib puts on Conor going forward, can Conor land them counter strikes? I think it's an incredible fight. Yeah. I really
Did you guys see my breakdown, the newest one I did on the fight, on the Khabib fight?
Yeah.
Yeah. Excellent.
Because you got to understand that his striking it's not pretty. He's not gonna be.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's not his style, but it's so effective in setting up what he does. Yeah. Those flying knees that he cuts an angle, the throw, like that's a tactic. Yeah. It's not reckless. Yeah. It's cerebral, in fact. Yeah. He's so good on the ground. I just don't know. And from like what Cormier and Luke says and Javi Mendez and Crazy Bob Cook, everyone says like they've never seen him hurt. Like in practice, he's never tapped. He's never got tagged. He doesn't lose rounds. He's like that all day, every day. I mean, that guy, there's no doubt he grew up about as tough as you can grow up, right?
Yeah.
Let's face it, he's posted pictures of his friends that have cut their own, like, intestines out. Like, I mean, that's a whole different world that I don't think any of us can understand.
That's number one bullshit.
That's a number one bullshit.
This is a number one bullshit guy. I don't know. I always said they'll never let Conor fight him, and I'm going to stick to that until I see otherwise.
It's quite funny though that when was it the press conference and he said in 2017 Khabib will be champion and I'll fight him for the belt in Russia.
Yeah, he did. Yeah. And then he said he looked like dog shit. What's funny is no one else on the planet said that, Conor. No. You can't. You can't.
Of course Conor's going to do that, and him and Khabib are having great back and forth.
I hate that fucking excuse that he's trying to sell fights. The guy can already fucking sell fights. He doesn't even have to show up at pressers. He's going to sell 3 million. He's not selling fucking fights anymore. He's talking shit.
But he likes
He doesn't even believe himself. How could you possibly think that was dog shit? Get the fuck out of here. Like, you don't believe what you're saying. And that's where he's losing me anyway. Because I'm not on the Emerald Isle. I don't know. But he's losing me. I'm like, bullshit, man. He was incredible. Why are you lying?
It was unbelievable.
Just don't say anything.
He was incredible.
Yeah,
he was
incredible. Definitely. The comment didn't make sense. Like, even if he was...
Oh, it was like he was drunk.
Yeah.
I swear to God, that's what I thought.
Yeah, he was. I think it would have been better.
It would have been better. I don't care.
Yeah. It would have been better if he, even if he, I don't know, made some kind of other comment. I think just the comment didn't make any sense. So it didn't really, it was cool. Didn't come off.
It was forced.
Yeah, it didn't come off. For me, it didn't come off. When I seen it, I wasn't like, oh, I want to see Conor Khabib now. I was just kind of like, oh, you look great.
I liked the little back and forth.
I liked the back and forth. I thought
it got fun eventually. Khabib made it fun.
Yeah.
And then Conor's retorts to Khabib's like silly shit were pretty funny. Yeah. But the first one was like, he's like, y'all, I don't know what the fuck accent he was speaking in. He's like typing in an accent, which is always weird to me because you guys don't do that. But he was like typing in an accent. Y'alls have lost your fool's mind or something. He was just calling everyone. Who's everyone that you're calling out as crazy? You mean everyone? Because everyone else said he looked incredible, dominant, amazing. No one said dog shit. That's for goddamn sure. I'm confused by it. I don't think he's afraid of anyone. I don't think it's fear. But I think the UFC may. You can't lose a cash cow like that.
I don't think they're going to have the cash cow for too much longer anyway. But yeah.
Yeah, that may very well be true. Yeah. I'm going to maintain that he never fights Khabib.
Possibly.
I think it's going to become a mess if he knocks out Tony and walks off.
Yeah. Oh, that'd be bad.
We're going to have another fucking mess once again.
He'll knock Tony out and he'll go to boxing.
See ya.
He's going to go to boxing. Ugh. Brendan, as always, it's a pleasure. It was great having you back. I missed you last week.
Yeah.
I love getting all fired up and getting my dogs riled up and shit.
I know all I need to do is say, Khabib, Conor, let him go. Let him go. Beautiful stuff. Happy New Year, I suppose, as well. So, very happy New Year to you and yours and all that bullshit talk.
Yeah.
Number one bullshit.
Cheers, I love you guys.
Yeah.
As always.
Talk to you soon, my man. Take care.
Cheers.
All right, later.
There you are. The beat to the door, to the man. Brendan Dorman.
That's fun.
Yeah. All you got to do is just Khabib, Conor.
Yeah. Well, great card though. Great card.
Just take the next 5 minutes off. Cracking card. UFC Fight Night 1, 2, 4 Sunday night, folks, as well. So just in case you're thinking, oh yeah, watch the fights, you're probably gonna have to DVR it. Or watch it illegally on MMA Core on the bus on their way to work the next day. Or if you travel in your own vehicle, pull over and watch the fights illegally, safely, so the guards don't arrest you.
Yes. It's a good show.
Excellent, Rob.
Yeah.
Obviously, unfortunately, the old technical gremlin with Stevie Ray, but sure. Yeah.
At least we got 10 minutes or so.
Yeah. That has satisfied many a person previously, Rob.
It has. Some would say 2 minutes.
2 minutes.
Like yourself.
But yeah, obviously Fight Talk episode 97. Thanks to Stevie Ray for coming on. Thank you to Brendan Dorman for coming on. Thank you for listening. It's a new year. It's not a new us because that's all bullshit. We're here.
Number one bullshit.
Number one bullshit. We are here every week. Tuesday, new show. Probably going to be doing a couple of little live edition things, something we want to try out. But a shout out to Fight Star Ireland, the fighter's choice. Everything you need under 2 rules. And folks, so I tell you, t-shirts could be on the way soon. Yeah. We have a really, really cool design for t-shirts. Hopefully we'll be able to release that soon when we start getting the t-shirts, so if I can get the copyright police out, because nobody's taking this off us. A little brainchild of us, and we got a designer and artist to do it. It's class. Fight Star will be hooking us up and making the t-shirts. To feelsupreme.co.uk. Go check them out. It's the new year. It's meant to be the new you. Go and get stuff to help you recover when you work out and you run around because you had too much turkey and ham.
Check out the website as well. Our website, it's open. It's there.
Let me get there, Rob. Let me get there.
I thought you wanted to forget about it.
And of course, on feelsupreme.co.uk, go and use the code at the end of the checkout, Fight Talk, and that'll get you 10% off. To MMAmix.com. They're obviously good because they're with, obviously, Fight Talk. They share all stuff. And if you're saying, geez, I really enjoyed that show, where can I find it? You can find it on YouTube if you're watching it now, or you can find it on audio if you're listening to it now on iTunes and and on Android and all these shows, all these links and whatever all you people listen to these on. But also, obviously, fighttalk.com is up and running. So go and check out our website. It's all our old shows, a little bit about us. We're going to be adding to it a little bit more as well. But go check that out. This has been the first show back in the studio with 218. You've been beautiful. As always, much love. Talk to me.